Okay, so here we are in Premiere Pro. We've got our project all set up and ready, and we were going to, in this video, we will talk about the basics of manipulating clips. So we're just going to talk about clips. We'll talk about titles in a different video. But those are the two main elements that you're going to be using for a Facebook video is your clips and titles. Okay, so let's say we want to, we're going to start with maybe a bit from this video clip. So I'm just going to double click on this one, and now, as you see, if I go over here, the whole video clip will play, and I can scrub through it quickly, blah, blah, blah. I can look at whatever section I want. Okay, so I want to find a section that doesn't have this little rear view mirror in the way. And we've got sort of a nice clean shot of the car, where the ambulance, where the whole thing is in the frame, and maybe where we don't have that thing in the way. So okay, that's maybe a good section right there. And we could even use this as like a nice little transition. So what I'm going to do is click Mark In right here for the beginning where I want my clip to start. Then I'm going to scrub down and say, here's where I want my clip to end. And then I can click here and drag it down into our project, into our timeline. And as you'll see, down here we have just that section of this clip. So it's not this whole clip. This whole clip that I downloaded from YouTube, right, is like 2 minutes long. But now down here, we just have this nice little 2-second segment that I want to use. So that's great, but there are a bunch of problems with this. So the first problem is, as you can see, this is way too small. Over here in our project window, we can see our project is 720p, but this video clip is not the right size, so we're going to have to scale it up. So just make sure that see this little red line right here, that indicates where you are in your project. So make sure that is over the clip that you're trying to mess with, and then you can just click on the clip up here in the project window and just scale it right up. And you don't have to worry about skewing it because it won't allow you to do that. So just scale it up so that it fits the window, and then there. Now we've got a nice little video that fits our 720p output. Now obviously this doesn't magically convert a 360p video into a 720p video. It doesn't add quality. So if you have a really low quality source and you have to scale it up, it's going to look bad. 360p to 720 you can get away with. It's not ideal. It's better to find HD sources for your videos, but in this case there aren't a lot of HD videos that I could find of ambulances in Qatar, so we're going to have to go with this lower quality one, and that's fine. That just means we need to scale it up. So we've done that. The other major problem with this clip, or another major problem with this clip, is that we've got sound, right? It's just loud. It's got like radio in the background, super awkward. It's going to sound terrible if we have music on top of it. We don't need it, so we're going to kill it. There's a couple different ways you can do that. So if we look down in our project area down here, you can see up on top we've got the video track, and then associated with that is this audio track down here. It might be in audio, it might be in one of these different tracks for you. It could be in, they end up in different places, but it doesn't matter. So you see if we drag, they're connected, they're grouped. So I can't really change one without the other right now. So what I'm going to do, whoops, drag that back down to track 1. I can just do this and turn off audio track 4, so audio track 4 isn't playing any noise. But that can get confusing when you turn tracks off, then you put something in there that you want to play and it doesn't play, you forget you turned it off. So it's easier to just get rid of this sound completely. So the way that we're going to do that is looking up in the video track, right next to video 1, there's this empty space. And you can see it pops up toggle track lock. So we're going to click that to lock the video track, and that means that it can't be changed or deleted or whatever. So now that the video track is locked, as you can see, we can drag this wherever we want. And if you drag the audio away from the video, you'll see this indicator that it's plus 122. That means it's like a second and 22 milliseconds. The audio is starting a second and 22 milliseconds later than its corresponding video. But we don't care about that. So just ignore that little message if you see it. But we don't need to drag this anywhere. What we just need to do is delete it. So we're just going to click on it and hit the delete key on the keyboard, and boom, it's gone. Now we have no audio. We just have this nice video clip. That's lovely. But, so let's say we've got this video clip, but it's a little short, and I decided I don't like the bus after all, so I want to mess with it a little bit more. So there's a bunch of different things that I can do to this clip. I could obviously go back in here, I could go back into the clip window and select the section that I want, but there's things I can do down here too. So I can choose where I want the clip to start by just scrubbing this back and forth. Okay, I want the clip to start there, and then I can drag this. I can click on the side here and just drag this up to that red line. And now I've got a clip, and then I can drag this back to the beginning of the project. So now the project just looks like this. Great. Another thing that I could do, I'm just going to undo that real quick. Another thing that I could do if I wanted to start here is I could just I could go choose the razor tool, or I could press the C key on the keyboard. C and V are good commands to know for Premiere Pro. So V will get you back to your sort of normal mouse. C will give you the cut tool or the razor tool, and you can just cut the clip and separate it into 2 clips right there. Delete that one that you don't want, and now you've just got this nice clip of the car going. Now, another issue with this particular clip is it's a little bit too fast. It's like 1.5, not even 1.5 seconds at this point, I don't think. So that's not really going to be useful for us. We need the title to stay on screen a little bit longer than that. You want probably at least minimum 4 seconds, something more like 8 seconds. So in our case, we can make this clip a little bit longer. I'm going to drag it out a little bit. We've got more shot of that car. So I'm going to drag the clip a little bit longer. Okay, so now we've managed to extend this to about 3 minutes. But I don't want to go too much further than that, because as you can see down in the corner up here, where you can start to see, it's pretty obvious that it's being filmed out of another car's window, and you get that reflection. I don't really like that. So I don't want to go much further than that. So this is the maximum that I want to use from this clip, let's say. But I still need this to be like 4 seconds long, or maybe even a little longer. So you can cheat a little bit. Now, using this technique, just be aware you can only cheat so much. If you slow things down too much, it's going to look terrible. But we can slow, especially because we're not using sound, we don't have to care about how the sound works. We can actually slow this clip down a little bit and cheat a little bit more length out of it if we need to. So what I'm going to do that is I'm going to right click on this clip, and then I'm going to go up to speed duration, and then I'm just going to edit the speed to whatever I want. So let's take it from 100% speed down to 70% speed. And now it's a little bit slower, but we've got see, now the clip is almost 5 seconds long, or it's about 4.5 seconds long. Or no, it's almost 5 seconds long. So we've gotten a little bit of length out of this clip just by making the clip play more slowly. Now obviously there is a limit to this, right? If I go down to if I try to make this like 10%, then the clip is ridiculously slow and it looks terrible. You can see it just going frame by frame. So that's not good. So you obviously there are limits to how much time you can cheat out of a clip. The lowest I think I've ever gone is 50%, but even that, you can see it doesn't look great. So really, I would try to avoid doing this at all unless you have to. But if you do have to, 70% is probably the ideal lowest place that you want to go. And similarly, if you've got a whole clip that's like 8 seconds long, but you need to make it a little bit shorter, you can do the same thing and you can speed it up a bit. So we could go speed 150. Oh, whoops, that was 15, not 150. So we could go 150, for example, and then hit OK. And now it's moving a bit faster. So if you need to condense a whole clip into a smaller area, you can also use that trick to do that. There's one other thing that you can do. This isn't going to work for this clip, but it will work for some clips, is you can copy the clip that you have. So we've got this clip right here. I'm just going to copy it. Then I'm going to move my slider over there. I'm going to click paste, and it'll paste that same clip in here. Now I'm going to move them together. I'm going to right click on the second clip. I'm going to go click on speed duration again, and I'm going to hit reverse speed. And what that does is it just flips this. It flips the clip so that it plays backwards. Now in this case, like, we've got a car, so it's pretty obvious, okay, now the car is driving backwards, that we're just repeating the clip. It doesn't look good. But there are some instances, some videos where you can cheat a little bit of extra time, get a little extra money out of a clip by doing that. If it's like a product shot or whatever where it's zooming in and then you add a reverse clip, you can just have it zoom back out to double the time. So if you've got a good shot, you need to double the time. You can try slowing it down, or you can try doing that, copying it and then reversing the speed and having that. You'll get that kind of bounce effect where it like zooms in and then zooms out, or pans left and then pans back right. With something like a car, or if there's people in the shot, they'll be walking backwards, it's not going to work. But if it's like a product shot, it can work quite well. So those are some ways to get a little bit extra out of your clips. And the last thing that I will show, we'll talk about this for titles as well, but so let's say we've got these two different clips here. I'm going to scale this one up a little bit. But we need to make a transition between them. Okay. So we're going to go down to video transitions, and we have a lot of different options, and you can check these out and play around with the different things that they do. One really simple one that I just think looks good, so I use it a lot, is push. So if we're just going to grab that one. It's in the slide folder. So you're just going to click on it, grab it, drag it out between, so this spot between these two clips. And then if we drag this thing, if we drag the slider back here and then press play, we can see we get this nice push effect where the second clip slowly pushes the first one out of the frame, and we get a nice transition there. Now that's a little slow. So what you can do is actually click on that effect and just drag it in closer to get it however small you want, and it'll play faster. You could even go over to the effect controls up here. You click on this push, make sure you've clicked on that, then go to effect controls. Then you can hit reverse, and it'll push in the opposite. It'll push from the right instead of the left. So maybe we want to make that a little longer. There we go, and we've got a nice cool transition between clips. So that is pretty much the basics of manipulating clips. Obviously we need to add titles to those, but we'll do a separate video for that. So there you go. There is messing with clips in Premiere Pro.